Hello. Look at you. You've got a poster.
Look what I did. Remember this, Karen?
Yes, I do. I can't believe you have it there. That's awesome.
Gotta have, talk to Lee. You've got to have the set and the costume.
Exactly. Oh, I'm going to introduce you this morning, Don, and I am so looking forward to it.
Did you get your app in? Did you get it all to finish
My app. Oh,
yesterday?
I did. Yes. Uh, there were shenanigans, but it got in. Mostly me because I was being a real dip and doing it at the last minute. I had
I
to.
love how you're like, oh, you want me to nominate you? It's like, Karen, that's 2 days from now.
All I can say is, first of all, I completely own that I was a big doo-doo head. And secondly, I just hope all the karma from writing last minute letters for students for the last 30 years I'm just going to use that up now. Like, what? It's due today in 2 hours?
That's right.
Okay. But
That's right.
that was a faux pas for sure. I'm recording this.
As I'm doing like hair and makeup.
Well, this is my mea culpa things I've done wrong this week. Well, everyone, hello. Um, Welcome. So this is the very first in what I hope is a series of research related presentations. As I've sort of been working through doing research with graduate students and others, um, changing the way that I do them. I stumbled upon the idea to just make sure I do a presentation to everyone who's working with me on research, including their dissertations, and anyone who wants to come. Your mom can come, anybody can come who really wants to talk about research. So this is the very first of them. I have a set of scheduled dates already for next term, which is on the syllabus I wrote for all of the research lab courses, which I believe is now Psych 764. So I'm also taking requests for future topics. One topic I'm going to do for sure is the overview of the entire research process. What are the normal steps that you go through when you design, collect, report on a research project? And Andreas, thank you for coming. Andreas and I are just starting up a video game research team. Also, I'm going to invite those working on teams throughout the term to do presentations that can be informal, they can be stuff that they're working on and they want input on. And that's a great way to share what fellow grad students are doing and the things they're struggling with, because some people are working on surveys, some people are working on qualitative stuff. Some people are just at the beginning, some people are, towards the end of the process. So, and this is course because dissertations are research projects, it shares things in common with the struggles that you're going through when you're working on that. So today we're excited that we have Dr. Don Grant, who is one of my PhD graduates. I'm claiming him because he's super successful, and so I want to just get all the mojo out of that I possibly can. Pretend that it's my doing, stuff like that. So I'm going to give a brief introduction of Don. I will start this by saying that Don is a very close personal friend of mine. He knows where all my skeletons are buried. So I'm going to say some more outlandish things about him than I normally would say about a colleague. First of all, I was saying to my husband this morning that Don is the outgoing president of Division 46, which is APA's Media Psychology and Technology Division. And Lee quipped, Don is the most outgoing president that media psychology has ever had. I swear to you, some of you may have been there. We had a Division 46 meeting at APA this summer. Don had a microphone. It was off the hook. And Krishna Kumar announced that Don was the most handsome president of Division 46 that we've ever had. I'm just like, oh God, there's just clearly going to be no dealing with him now. And also, this is a joke that I told Don that he doesn't like. I'm going to tell it here. Don is the world's most unorthodox Jew. I think that's hilarious. Anyway, I wouldn't normally tease people about their religion, but I'll make an exception in Don's case. So Don, you can summarize it much more than I hate to butcher your career, but he works on device management, which is everything from especially with young people, teenagers, young adults, but with anyone, about things like when you're upset about something that someone said in your Insta, or when you or don't have enough likes and you're angsting about that. People come into therapy and they talk about this, and Don is a licensed therapist, so he's merging the therapy and the media psychology. When Don's dissertation, so we worked on Don's dissertation and we published it, and in an APA journal. And that year we went to an APA conference, and APA put a press release out about his dissertation. And Don was under the impression that they put one out for everyone. I'm just like, I know. So it got a lot of attention. I think that's enough roasting of Don for now. I'm going to actually invite you to speak, although I should not after that introduction, and talk a little bit about what you wanted to come here for, which is enthusiasm about encouraging folks to present at conferences.
Thank you, Karen, for that introduction.
Yeah. It was the most on point introduction.
Karen
Really.
and I actually, Karen and I actually are very close. Karen's my mentor, so I will let her. She gets a pass. And Karen, you're the one who knows where my car is apparently in France. That's an inside joke. Hi, everyone. I'm assuming you were all fielding.
Yeah.
This is all fielding.
Yeah.
Fielding. Yes. Yeah. So I wanted to come, and I was going to come to Santa Barbara. I live in LA, and I was going to come to Santa Barbara to talk to you guys, leverage you guys, bribe you guys to get involved with APA conferences. Now I'm going to tell you straight up, I didn't know anything about APA conferences. I didn't know how they worked. I didn't know why they were valuable. I didn't know why publishing my dissertation was important. And Karen was very, very supportive and leveraged and bribed and all those good things to convince me. And she was, of course, as in all things I've learned along my career, right. And we had some pretty good battles, certainly about publishing, because by the time I was done with my dissertation, I said, and I don't know what stages you all are in, I was over it. I mean, I'd had the nights where I'm screaming. I had the nights where, why am I doing this? I had the nights where the data doesn't work. Karen had to teach me what an ornithological rotation was, and I didn't know why that mattered. But I was done.
For that, by the way, Andreas. Orthogonal rotations.
Now I know.
Total empathy with that one. So
that is a factor analysis term, FYI.
There are two pieces that I just am really going to encourage you, even when you think it's really sucks. Why do I want to do this? I am burnt out. I am going to be paying student loans for the rest of my life. I don't want to do this. There's no point to it. I'm just going to give you my experience, strength, and hope, and let you know that these 2 points, publishing your dissertation, as hard as that seems, Karen will help you. See what I did there, Karen?
I had orthogonally rotated that sucker. What are you saying? I will help you.
Publishing, absolutely. I'm going to tell you, I was so upset, let's just say, with Karen when after I was all done, she told me, oh, and now we get to do this. I'm like, no, I don't want to be an academic. I don't care.
Just have some empathy for me here. Is all I'm saying. Like, I don't care.
After that introduction, I don't know. I'm not sure. I will tell you guys, and really take it for what it is. And I'll give you some evidence about why, because I'm being honest. I don't want to do either of these. I don't want to do this poster. Yeah, I put up my original poster for you guys in the back from that conference in Toronto. I don't want to do any of this. What's the point? I want to get my life back. And those two things, of all the things that I did, those were the 2 bags of I was going to say Bitcoin, but that's like it's too soon. Those were the 2 really amazing things that you get to do when you do a dissertation. And you might not believe me, but after you've done all this work, and yep, trust me, and the program at Fielding was very different when I was there. these are the two things you get to do. These are the gifts and these are the payoffs. And I'll tell you what, publishing has done more for me. Even though I'm not an academic, I am right now, my current position, I'm the National Advisor of Healthy Device Management for Newport Healthcare. But right now I'm writing books and I'm working on a research study about devices and attachment, and I get to work on a lot of cool projects, and I'm working on another big project with a global team, which it's great, except that I'm the only one in America, so my meetings are at 5 a.m. I might want to rethink that next time. But all
Oh,
of
by the
these
way,
things,
Don was quoted in People magazine this year and other big sources. Newport is realizing that he is such a great speaker and also great at talking to journalists. So they've got his name now, and so they're calling him up for
yeah, I
sure.
get to do a lot of cool media stuff. And thank you, Karen. And that's, I don't want to flex on that. I get to do it because I'm published. There's a
Thank you
lot of
for that,
opportunity.
Don. And I mean,
What?
I said, thank you for that, Don. You get to do it because you're published. That is something I try to convey to people. Yes, publishing can be brutal and take a long time, but it's also the most rewarding thing. And Andreas and I have the same mentor, Craig Anderson. And so we were raised in a like very publishing forward world that obviously that's what you want to do. Obviously that's what you're living for, you know. And when I was in my last year of grad school, I was just trying to get a publication on my CB because I thought I could not get a job without an academic job without at least one publication. And I did, I get a teaching job and there were 180 applicants for my teaching job. Um, and I had 3 publications by the time I think I sent my stuff out. But we all of us suffering grad students going through it together in our social psych program knew whatever we were doing, we probably needed to get one peer-reviewed publication on our CV. So we were working hard for that. But that's the reason. So in Andreas and I's world, as we were raised there by Craig, we understood that that was your currency, that everyone was all about peer-reviewed journal articles. They were like, that is what they lived and breathed. And so I don't subscribe to that as the only way to be an academic. Like I have friends who I always joke they publish one thing before breakfast every morning. I'm like, well, how do these people do this? You know, it's insane. I don't aspire to that. But and I have certain things that I really like to do and invest in, like writing books. I really love writing books more than writing a journal article. But it is your currency. Like people will absolutely find you based on something that you've published, and you don't have to do it an absurd amount, just at all. You know, I think that. What do you think about that, Andreas?
I couldn't agree more. And kind of going after what Dr. Grant has been saying, you know, I've had some really crazy opportunities happen just because someone happened to read an article that I didn't even care about. Like I was like, I just needed to do this. My advisor wanted me to do it. And the next thing I know, 6 months after it's been published, you know, I get an email from, you know, someone being like, hey, can you talk to this congressperson's like staff member? They want to really talk to some experts about, you know, these issues. And you're just like, me? Like, why? Because I just published something about it. And so, you know, I really, again, Dr. Grant, the way you talk about it, it's a currency. And it's the way that you build, you know, it's the way that you build equity. And it's the way that you build a brand. You know, just to continue some of those parallels. I'm also with Karen. I don't necessarily even like that that's the way that it is, but it's really true. And if you want to get the full experience that you can out of your PhD, you know, making sure that you know, have some research to back that up, it'll change everything. It really will. I couldn't reiterate that.
I agree with that. And I want to buttress it a little bit and illustrate something for you. And again, the umbrella of this, I did not want to do it. I fought Karen. I said, I don't want to publish. I don't
believe I
need to.
won.
I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to tell you, I have a lot of colleagues who are PsyDs, which is great. And I have a lot of colleagues who are PhDs. Just about every PhD friend of mine that I have that did not publish regrets it. And I will also illustrate and remind you, you're working on a PhD. I don't know if any of you will ever do another research study again or another dissertation. I don't think you will. I don't know if any of you will ever do anything that you would have fodder to publish, and that's okay. but you've worked really hard, or you will be working really hard, or you're working hard right now on getting something that you could get published. And so as long as you've gone the distance, I would say take it over the finish line, listen to Karen, because you have the material. You worked hard on it, or you're working on it. And it is, if you get that dissertation done, it is viable for publishing in some form. And I'm going to ask you to think about not throwing away that shot, hashtag Hamilton. That was for you, Karen. Not missing that opportunity, because I'm not kidding. My friends who are PhDs, when we talk about it, they, you know what, I just didn't do it and I regret it. The other
And it's
thing
not
is,
too late. You're alive, right? It's never too late. And I would say most of you are on a research team with me. We all are working together. So it's not like you have to pull it out of nowhere by yourself or something. It's so great. I admit it was hard for me over time, because I'm one of those people who says, if it needs to be done, I'm just going to do it. Like, just give it to me and I'll do it. I have that attitude. And so I take it as it's been purposeful personal growth to work with people and say, I don't have control of everything. I'm going to, make decisions with people. There's different reasons to make decisions. And one of the best things about my mentor, Craig, is that he would sit down with you and he would say, here are some of the options. Here's a reason why you would choose this one. Here's a reason why you would choose that one. Because everything in research, you ask yourself, after you've published a while, you realize that people are going to peer review your article, and then they're going to tell you if they think it's okay or it needs changes. And so you get into the mental habit of guessing basically what they're going to say. Will they like this? Will it be acceptable? And the reason, one of the reasons it's so satisfying to me to be a mentor is I've been through all the places where you get battered and bruised. I've been through like insulting peer reviews, like, they think I'm an idiot. I really think so. It's just like, okay, you've got to live through that. It's a lot like, my husband's in theater. It's a lot like trying out for roles. They say the most successful actors just keep trying out for roles. And if they're like, next, don't call us, we'll call you. You just keep doing it. You got to be persistent. And you've got a team, and the strength of a team is different skills, different perspectives. And you're always sort of trying to think through, just like Craig trained me to do, think through what are the pros of making this choice? What are the costs, and then in the end, you make it informed. And you can never please everyone. People are going to have different takes on your research. I am shocked as a journal editor how many times you get two reviewers and it's as if they've read a different paper, So there's some subjectivity in it, and there's some luck of the draw, chance, luck, fortune, whatever. But although it's difficult and it takes time, it's not impossible. And once you get into the groove, you feel like, okay, I've got this, like, and I'm sure actors do this, like, okay, I understand how to pick things to try out for, what to hone. And, with every profession, there's versions of this. So I want to go ahead and share some.
while you're doing that, Karen, I want to give you some props. If anyone knows, as Karen's talking about, she auditions and auditions. If anyone knows or sees how prolific Karen is, I didn't think we were going to talk about this point today, but I just want you to remember that last thing. And I'm saying I did not want to do it. It was really made me roll my eyes. But there's nothing quite so cool as when you see that copy of that journal hopefully arrive, and it sits there. And I had said, and I'll end with this, I said to Karen, why do I need to do this? It's going to be in the Library of Congress, my dissertation. And Karen looked at me and said, no one will read that.
But see, the punchline of this is I was wrong in Don's case, because they were so on fire about his dissertation topic that people did read it.
Well, we didn't know what was going to happen in Toronto, but
But I will say this, I'm just going to be obnoxious and say I was still right, because if you notice in the Fielding Library Search, there's a checkbox for exclude dissertations. And the reason for that is your dissertation, as it gets published, the version you submit to Fielding is not peer reviewed. And so it's all about peer review as the stamp of approval that you have been given, high standards, and you've had to meet those standards, and some of your peers have agreed this is worthy of publication. So you don't have to cite anyone's dissertation when you're doing the intro to your own dissertation or other work. You can, but it's understood that you are responsible for citing the peer-reviewed publications, and you're not responsible for citing dissertations. And also, when you get to those dissertations and you're doing a lit search, they're so long because, like my dissertation was like 200 pages or something. That's because Craig made me put every table imaginable in there, but and he was right. But they're very
Now
long.
I see why you make me do that, Karen. Now I can blame Craig.
Yeah.
You
So
guys worked really hard on this. You might as well just work it and get the most benefit of it. I know you might not see the benefit, but it does legitimize you, and it's something that will be there forever. So
yeah,
Karen was right again.
it legitimizes you, and it'll be the reason, like Andrea said, that people call you. And again, you don't have to be cranking out the publications, just some, just
It's
sometimes.
not that hard, actually, especially if you make Karen do all the work.
Well, Donna and I are a good example because he is in the world of addiction and recovery too. And so he knows all of that. And he teases me that I don't even drink, so I should not even be allowed on this publication. But
That
I don't
Karen
drink
was even a part
separately.
of this study. The study actually, and some of you may see the irony in this, we looked at comparing face-to-face versus online recovery support. And then COVID happened. And at the time, I owned an outpatient program for teens, and we had to go online, and people were saying, "Oh, what about that study you and Karen did?" But it was funny because Karen does not, she doesn't do those kind of things, but she didn't know what an orthogonal rotation was. I want to ask you, Karen, are the Stephanies coming in or no? Do you know?
I did not invite them. No, this was just a field
Oh,
thing. No, but I should have. I can in the future. So the Stephanies, if we
as
want to
they're
mention
finally
this,
called.
so I'm gonna focus on the APA conference, and I'll give
Yeah.
a brief.
I want to do the push for publishing as long as I had the captive audience, Karen.
Oh, that's good. No,
I know we were talking about this.
what a transformation! You're like, I don't want to do it. Now you're the spokesperson. I will admit though too.
Where's my
Sometimes
car, Karen?
when someone's a researcher, you're like, oh, they're hardcore. They're all about it. When I got my first job, it was a teaching job, and I was teaching 4 courses a term. And Craig was emailing me like, let's publish that dissertation. And I also thought, poo, no, I'm in a different state. You can't catch me. But of course, he was right. And, he worked with me. So, when you're a young whippersnapper and you just came out of grad school, it's great to have that support. So,
So this is what I really wanted to come and try to leverage you guys about. So Karen, I thought maybe the Stephanies were coming, so I'll just hopefully they'll get to meet them or do introductions.
Yeah, they're
at some
welcome.
point. Visit you another time. I think they could come in. That would be great.
So tell them who the Stephanies are, and tell them a bit about 46, if you will.
Right. So Society for Media Psychology and Technology. So the American Psychological Association is a big organization, but within it, if you think of it as the country, within it, there are divisions. Now, you do not have to join a division in order to be a member of APA. So if you join APA, that's great. You enjoy all the privileges of membership of APA. However, if you really want to get involved, or you really want to, in my opinion, take advantage of what they have to offer, you might want to join a division. You can join multiple divisions. You don't have to just choose one. And to me, I look at that as the states within APA. So I don't think it's going to be a surprise to any of you why I chose to align with Division 46, which is the Society for Media, Psychology, and Technology. So the Stephanies. So we have a board, and I really encourage you to get involved once you become a PhD. When you become a PhD, until you become a PhD and you get that anointment and that wonderful day when Karen or your team or whatever says, yes, and congratulations, Dr. Andreas, or whatever. I mean, that moment, I'm going to tell you guys, you will not experience a moment when you're done defending or whatever you have to do with your dissertation, and they say to you, they call you doctor for the first time. Oh, I want to say something else, and I'm sorry to leverage. I'm just trying to get on my soapbox to help you with some things that I struggled with. I was the same person August 13th, 2014. I was the same person April 13th of 2014 that I was April 14th of 2014, which actually, when Karen picked that day, it was my mother's birthday and she did not know it. So I became a doctor on my mom's birthday. I was the same person. I have a lot of feelings about this. I was the same person. However, suddenly with those three little letters, I was invited to tables I hadn't been invited to the day before, given respect, given opportunities. And I'm going to tell you, of all the things I've done, there's not one day that goes by that I'm not grateful that I got those three little letters. The things that it has allowed me to do, and I'm going to honestly tell you that every single thing I'm doing today, and I'm working on some really cool things, every single one of them, every conference I've been asked to keynote around the world or wherever I do it is because of that PhD. So when those dark times when you want to stop, do what you want, but I'm going to tell you, I did have feelings that I was the same person the day before, but it's like you cross this golden portal. So, but until that time, you are all applicable, and I really encourage you to join into the Division 46 student members. They're actually cooler than the rest of us, and we know it. They do so many activities, and they're so involved, and they offer so much support. And I mean, what they've got going on in our student membership makes us all kind of wish we were still students so we could play with them. So I'm the president of APA Society for Media Psychology and Technology today. Stephanie Joseph and Stephanie Miotis, as we affectionately call them, the Stephs or the Stephanies, are the student chairs of this cohort of our division's student members. I really encourage you to get involved if you want to, and they're easily discoverable, but if you can't, just get my email from Karen and I will make the introduction for you. I do it all the time with students. I'm very much an advocate and support students. So I really encourage you to check it out, especially since if you're at Fielding for media psychology, this division does have our name in it. You will also meet other colleagues who are ahead, and that's what I did, who do what we do, who have opportunities. You'll become part of the media psychology family, as it were. As you know, there are not a lot of us, not because it's not popular. As one of my student colleagues used to say at Fielding, yeah, it's everyone wants us and everyone's jealous because media psychology is the sexy degree. Citation Johnny White, 2013. So
Yes, and
media psychology.
I have the links on here. I shared this in the chat. I put it on a Google Doc. It's just a little handout for today's chat. So the link to APA division, about Division 46, how to join Division 46. There's a newsletter called The Amplifier. You can write articles for. They would be happy to have you write articles. And sorry, just to keep us going here because I want to respect.
Yeah, I know. I got off track because I get excited. Anyway, I encourage you to join. However, I want Karen now because I did this. This was my poster. What's coming up? There's a deadline. It's not really difficult, but I really also encourage you to get involved with conventions. Even though now they're hybrid and no one wants to go, but it's a really cool way to meet colleagues, make opportunities, have some fun. But there's a deadline coming up, and I really encourage you all to do a poster. So Karen, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, and here's the link in this handout, APA poster submissions. The deadline, as it says here, Tuesday, January 10th at 5 Eastern. It's a portal, so you got to get it in there before 5 Eastern that day. So that's why I'm doing this term rather than waiting to start it next term to give you a heads up. I'm going to go into some of the resources. Oh, by the way, Stephanie and Stephanie are the people who are in charge of like managing the.
All right, they're the conference. Yeah, sorry. They're also, and we decided to do this. Sorry, Karen, I should have said that. We never have done this before, but they're so great, and we want to give them an opportunity. The two Stephanies are our program chairs for the convention this year from our division, which means that they're going to be part of the committee that chooses and selects. So that's an inside edge for students. We've never had students do this, but we're doing it this year because we're trying to keep them involved.
Yeah, and as it says here, they're accepting, so posters, I'm going to show you some posters and just if this is the first time you've heard it, I want to make sure I'm like starting from the beginning as to what it's like. So they're accepting, these are types of posters. I'll just read them, and then we'll get back to that. Critical conversations, these are presentations rather. I'm calling this the presentation, by the way. Today is the presentation. So they, APA Division 46 accepts critical conversations, posters, skill building, and Symposia 2.0 sessions. So what is this about? So I've got some different things to show you. This one here, I found some resources online, a lot of them from apa.org. So I wanted to show you this. If you've never seen this happen, this is what it looks like if you present a poster. So a poster, what is that? Well, like this one here, in this picture of these lovely ladies, that's what it looks like. You go to Kinko's or some other place, and you give them your digital file, and they print it out on this massive thing for you, and then it gets rolled up and put in a tube if you're traveling. My husband in the Czech Republic was carrying a giant tube for me, and he's really big, and he kept like whacking everyone with my poster. It's kind of hard to travel with him. You can also, sometimes they'll have a thing on site where you can send your poster to the local print shop and it'll be there for you. That's super nice. I once tried to print a poster in Paris, Don, you'll appreciate this. And I was like, oh, geez, what's that? We both speak French, but jargon, I'm like, oh gosh, oh, affiche, that's the word for poster. Mon affiche, I need mon affiche. But I'm going to scan down here and show you something that's a blast.
Oh, wait, Karen, I'm seeing something from Andreas, cloth posters. I didn't see any of those at APA, but I love that idea. Because, you know, when I did mine, I was carrying it into Canada, and I looked like I was in the Hunger Games, and those movies were out at the time. And I kept getting stopped because it was this big tube I had slung over. It looked like I had arrows. I didn't know, I have not seen a cloth poster, but that seems like a cool idea. Do you know about that, Karen?
No, that's why we need the youth of today. Andreas, tell us about.
So cloth posters, I wish I had one on hand, but unfortunately they're all in Ames, Iowa, in Craig's lab somewhere. But yeah, you can get these cloth posters. There's like a laminate on them, so it doesn't just look like a bed sheet or something like that. But yeah, I've done it the last like 3 or 4 years or before the pandemic, the last 3 or 4 times I'd gone to a conference. And yeah, and they just I could do it at my university. I could make them. But I'm pretty sure you can get them at any place that would print them. And yeah, it was a lot easier because I just folded it up and I just had it in my backpack. And I didn't have to carry around a deadly weapon with me.
That's a very good.
Andreas, you presented before.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're queued in on this, Dr. Grant. I'm faculty at Fielding too. I just got my PhD.
I'm sorry, his youth
I just graduated.
Probably confused you. He is my fellow faculty member at Fielding.
Okay, I thought that, Andreas, but you know, you look so young.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
And then we have Patrick Sweeney also. So we have two.
Yes, Patrick, I know.
Yes, good. So
we gave Patrick an award this year.
That's right. We gave Patrick won the dissertation award for all of Division 46, and very well deserved. 2 wonderful colleagues. We're so glad to have them.
Hi, Andreas. I'm so sorry. You look so good. I thought you were faculty, but then I thought, wait, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I haven't.
It's a hard thing, Andres. I sympathize because when I was, I came out got my dissertation when I was 27, and people would ask me like, "Do the students think you're one of them?" And I was like, "They're 18. I'm 27." No, they don't. But still, everyone's like, "What?"
So you endorse what we're talking about, then, Andreas, correct?
Yes, I've done it all. I haven't published my dissertation yet, but we're in I graduated.
He just graduated.
August, so,
yeah, he just graduated.
Yeah, I'm a fresh graduate. I was 28 though, so you beat me, Karen.
You were 28.
Yeah, I'm 28.
I just went straight from college.
Yep, went straight from undergrad and did the PhD. But yeah, so I've done a lot of poster presentations at this point now. A handful of oral ones, and then I have a couple of publications stuff too. So yeah, but been through this road. So
thank you.
It's fun though. I like it.
Well, so we need to, we'll figure out like when you're getting yours printed, ask the Kinko's or whatever your copy center is. We don't have one at Fielding just because of our distributed model. But if they have the cloth ones, that'd be great just to fold it and And then you can make it into a
Then you
quilt
can
later, I
repurpose
suppose. I
it,
don't know.
Karen, and you can use it for a festive throw on your couch for
Exactly.
guests.
So I'm going to
And
show
just,
this
you
picture.
can flex by saying, hey, you look cold. And then just giving them your dissertation when
Exactly.
guests come over and flex your
Snuggle with
poster.
it, yeah. So I'm showing this paper because back in the day, 1997, when I got my PhD, we did this, which is print out the thing on, manuscript pages and just put the little pins in it. So I'm just saying. The most hilarious poster I've ever seen in my life was a dude who was right across from me at APA, and he had one sheet of paper which he had written on. It's just priceless.
Like a
And he looked like
drawing,
super enthused, like
crayon, like stick figures.
exactly.
It was
And
hieroglyphics plus a cave drawing.
but yeah, they used to be black and white as well. So here's some charts and things. So that's just to show you what it's like. So
Uh-oh.
you're standing at this board, like a 4x6 board. Say this is a overhead view of folks standing at their presentations at a conference. Here's one that I'm going to show you. That's one of mine. And it's super beautiful because I did not do it. I am impaired when it comes to visual things. So someone else did this, but it was from a lab group here at Fielding, and it was some of our Black Panther research. And so just some things to point out, this is a pretty typical format. Usually put your university's logo. I have that logo. If you don't have it, there's a high res version. This was co-sponsored by Leadership Education and Development, and so we have their logo on there. And you have the author's name. So you got the title and authors at the top. It's, this is, like I say, pretty standard what it looks like. And you can put pictures. We put pictures in here because we were just in love with the Black Panther stuff, but you can put charts and other things, which I'll show you. So like I said, back in the day, they were Word docs and we just printed them out. You don't need to know that. It's just fun facts. On my desktop here, I have a template, which came from PsyChi, the International Honor Society in Psychology. And so if you remember, you could use this. There's a PsyChi poster session at APA. I think that's why we have the PsyChi logo there. And you can see the sort of boilerplate headers that you would have. A poster of a research project usually has the same sections that a journal article would have. So they put an abstract, you can do that or not. Sometimes there are poster contests, I should mention that. There are poster contests all the time. Student poster contests are really popular. So sometimes they'll require these headings. So abstract, they chose hypotheses, method, and then they put subsections of method, participants, materials, procedure, results, discussion, references, and contact info. Because after all, you're either like virtually doing this and you're talking to people, or you're standing and people are milling by. It really makes you feel like either sad or excited, because if people are bored by your poster, then they'll like leave you alone. You'll feel very sad. Like, please, like you want to have cupcakes there or something to draw them over. But if they're all into it, then they'll be, best case scenario, they'll be flocking around you. But this is one giant PowerPoint slide is what it is, or other software that you use. So I didn't know that at first because I was there when we switched over from docs to PowerPoints. It's a slide, it's one giant slide. And so when you look at this, your text will be teeny tiny on that because it's going to be blown up to this 4x6 thing behind you. So that's an important thing to know. Let me go back to the Google Doc here.
While
So
Karen's doing that, I also want to help bind any anxiety you might be feeling. With this deadline that you need to do, you do not have to have the poster finished by January 10th. All we want you to consider doing, please, go in, put in your poster. You already have your work done. If you're working on a dissertation, it should be pretty easy. But I just thought, oh my gosh, you don't have to have this done. You don't have to have it done at all. You just bring it with you, like we were talking about. So don't think and the APA conference is until August. So you don't have to worry about it. And if you have any ideas about post-grad, or you're getting close and you want opportunities, this is a really great calling card. It's just really big. But you do not have to have the poster done by January 10th. You just have to fill out the app.
thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to look for the the conference. I shouldn't do this during the while I'm doing this, but there's a site on here for conferences for the 2023 conference, like Don said, in August. So what you're submitting is probably for APA is usually an abstract, and I believe they will take things that are in progress. So I always try to get to the point with a research project where I have sort of some preliminary results to put in there, even if it's not the entire thing has been analyzed, sort of some. And then you can also, some places will let you put sort of a plan for what you're planning on analyzing in there. I should say, I'm just going to say this briefly, not all posters have to be about research projects that you're doing. That's the most common thing that you will see. But I noticed, for instance, that Krishna in the past had done one for Division 46, and it was about the international membership of Division 46. So it was different people from around the world and books that they had written and things like that.
I also want to help you out and let you know again, remind you, the two staffs are the chairs of the program committee. So the program committee, when you put in your submission, it goes to APA, but it comes right back to us in our executive board. So we are the ones who determine who gets chosen, not APA. And if you're a student and the two staffs who are the chair of the student committee are the people deciding, if it's legit, and even I think you have a pretty good shot at this, so it's not like you have to worry about, oh my God, what if they don't pick me? Then it's just like Karen said, making a really cool poster so people come by and flock around you, or just have cookies, like Karen said.
Exactly. So in different conferences, and Andreas, please chime in here too. Different conferences and different types of presentations are more or less competitive. I go to APA a lot now. I go to ICA, International Communication Association. The deadline for that has passed this year, so I'm not highlighting that, but it's in Toronto this year. ICA has a acceptance rate of something like 38%. So I have been sad and dissed multiple times by ICA because, yeah, like I tell people when they don't get an article published, the most common answer is no. It's hard to get stuff there. But I have a lot of communication colleagues, and for ICA, they tell me that because it's so competitive to get your research on the agenda there, do some of the other possible presentations. Like ICA loves panel presentations of multiple universities. They're international, and so they like to see researchers from multiple universities, especially around the world, doing something together. By the way, when you do a panel, it doesn't have to be about just one study, like a poster is commonly about one or maybe two studies. A panel can be looking back on a set of studies that you've done on some topic, or even like, so last year at APA, this was this summer, I presented on a panel with Gail Stever and Dave Ewaldson. Gail's a developmental psychologist and Dave is a communication scholar. No, I'm sorry, he's a social psychologist. Yes, I almost forgot that. So we were talking about parasocial relationships, and we were free to sort of talk broadly about those topics, including some of our research. The rule is if you present one study, like you might in this poster, you can't just keep on presenting that same study, because it wouldn't be fair. It'd be competitive. Like, I did this one study, dang it, I'm just going to keep on talking about it. But if I like, I did this Black Panther poster at a conference, I can talk about that research again as part of talking about race in the media, or just whatever topics that I might be on a panel. There are things like, what else am I forgetting, guys? I like roundtable discussions.
There's workshops, there's symposia, there's all
Data
kinds.
blitzes.
Yeah. But Karen's right. The panels, they seem to really, really like. Oh, the other thing is, if you talk to the staffs, we are putting together some panels for APA, which is in Washington, D.C. every 2 years or so, every 3 years, something. It's in Washington, D.C., and then it migrates around the country. But we are putting together panels, and if you are interested in presenting, talk to the Stephanies about it, or talk to me, or let me know, or I'll talk to you, Karen, because you can be on a panel as a student. You can't present your own session at APA. You can't do a one man, one woman, one them, whatever they them show as a student, but you can be part of a panel, or you can pull together your own panel. As long as you have someone who is the chair who submits this by January 10th. So for example, if you had something you're really passionate about and you want to present and really show up at APA this year, then all you have to do is get someone. So you just tell Karen you want to do a panel and she's going to be on it and she's going to present it, or Andreas, and you say, you're going to be the chair. Can you please submit this for me? See what I did there, Karen? Yes, I did. So if you want to talk and you want to present, you can be on a panel. You just have to have someone who's an APA member submit the application for you.
Yeah.
So pull together a panel.
Yeah, and it really just requires thinking of it in advance. And you know how busy we all are. That's what happens. We go, oh crap, that deadline is coming up, and you'd like to think way ahead. So with APA and ICA, they're due in, I think ICA was about Halloween, somewhere around there, and APA is early January. So then you'd have to take
January 10th is when it's due.
Yep. You'd have to
And
take
the other thing is this, sorry,
and
Karen,
plan it.
I'm trying to remember all the things that freaked me out. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The other thing is, think about it this way. You can always say no or pull it back anytime between when they choose you and the show. I hope you don't.
Oh,
What you
you
can't
can?
do is you can't, huh?
I didn't know that you could do that. I thought it was pretty much.
Well, no, I'm saying you can't apply again. Like you said, ICA.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I want to go to Toronto and present there. No, that deadline passed. Sorry, wait till next year. You can always, if they pick you down the road, whenever, you have to put it in by January 10th. It's just filling out a form. You guys have done it a million times. You can always say later, I hope you don't. I'm not endorsing this, but I'm saying you can't go back and say, oh, I wish I had. But if they do select you, you can't say, you know what, I rethought this. I can't do this. No, I'm not saying Karen like not show up. Sorry, if that's what it sounded like. I'm saying you
not to
can't
be,
go back and reapply.
not to be, that person, but I would not do that. To me, it's like sacrosanct. Like if you said you're going to be there,
I'm not
unless
saying I'm not
you get
endorsing
like
it,
a leg
Karen.
falls off or something, you should probably.
I'm saying when they select you, not after you commit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying not after you commit. I would never suggest that. I'm saying you can't after January 10th if you have any ideas about it doing it this year. Otherwise, you have to wait another 2 years, because I believe that some of your students are actually probably going to get their PhD this year, right?
Right. And
Right. I'm saying that you can't, like, they'd have to wait almost 2 years to present their dissertation for their PhD.
yeah, which they could submit it now, even if you're just finishing it up, say. But
That was my point. No, not
um,
to say, all right, sorry, Karen, thank you. Not to say, yes, I'm going. That's not a good look. I meant they can't walk it back if they decide in May, oh my God, I'm graduating. I want to present my dissertation.
right, right.
Then they're waiting
Yeah,
2 more years.
but yeah, it's just to make the point that really, if you, especially if you got people on your team, you don't want to back out. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So normally, like, what if I've had students who say, oh gosh, I really wanted to go, but then I don't have the money to travel. Nowadays, there's virtual options as well.
Yeah.
We're also putting together, and I can't promise, some scholarships for students for this year, Karen. We're going to try to help out. Susan and I, we're working on trying to get some, so if money is a problem, talk to us. I can't promise, but we're trying to get some sponsorships and try to help out some students this year. We're putting that together. It'll really happen after Susan assumes presidency in January, but that's being sentient to the students.
Yeah, that's the
and how much
key,
it costs.
right? Hanging together.
If you're not speaking, if you could put it on mute, we're hearing some background stuff here. And again, this is what it's like if you're there and people are coming up to you and talking about your research. Virtually, sometimes it can be like this on Zoom, where you're discussing your research like that. And so I don't know if we've really highlighted this. It's such a great thing for networking and also simply for research ideas that when you start seeing all the different ideas in your own area, that are happening around you, and you start to see the way people are doing research, it makes it so much easier for you to understand some decisions you're going to make on your dissertation. You just see like, oh, that's the way it's done, and there's nothing like it. So here's some tips. I'll send out all these, so I'll go through them rather shortly. Some tips from APA here about the perfect poster. Focus on your findings. That's true in your dissertation somewhat, but also when you're presenting it, make sure you're saying, okay, this is about what we hypothesized, what we found, or how we framed it. Someone says emphasize the graphics. I think, and folks who've done it chime in if you like. I think that people are so visual, and you're in a giant ballroom full of so many people presenting. People's eyes, I see them just see a visual and just like hone in on that, like a hawk or something. So if you had only text, you probably wouldn't be as popular at the poster session as if you had a table, a picture, a pie chart.
A TikTok video.
Karen and Dr. Grant, I don't know if you guys have seen this too, but I just posted a link in the chat. There has been a movement the last couple of years to try to change a little bit the poster format, to do this exact thing that you're talking about, Karen, to try to reorganize it and to make the relevant information for people who are kind of walking by and trying to evaluate, am I gonna, really, look at this poster, and do I want to know what's going on? And they look quite different now. I actually did one in 2020. And so you'll see, you'll have this like big block in the middle, and what they say is that you put like your main results there, and like what you were saying, Karen, some sort of table or an image to really kind of convey what's going on. And then you stick the writing on the sides, really, for people who are going to be who are interested in the details to get the information there. So
Awesome.
I just wanted to toss that out there too.
I had this link in the Google Doc that I shared, so I found it too, and I was like, that's really cool. But I haven't seen this as much, but I think it's such a great idea because of that, because people are just drawn to the graphic. They're drawn, I think they're also drawn to the topic, like, whether you're into that topic or not. Sometimes the poster though looks so good, whether you're into the topic or not, you kind of I have to say, this is a thing that I get nervous about. I really feel like when I'm at a poster that I'm like trying to get a date and it's not working. It's just like,
I suspect, Karen, I suspect that in not too far in the future, because I was thinking about this, they're going to have interactive posters, and then you can scan them. So I see this. This is kind of interesting because yes, you're walking by all the posters. Yeah, the cookies will grab them. I think you're right, the topic. But I was just thinking when I was at APA this year, walking up and down the aisles, which ones grabbed me, and it was what you're showing, Andreas. I remember thinking, is that kosher? Can you do that? But then I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, how long is it going to be before these are all interactive, and you just scan and get into the poster like virtual reality?
I've seen that too. I've actually seen. I saw a poster once, and the person it was this kind of a poster, and in the bottom right corner where you normally have your references, it was a QR code. And they're like, you can scan the QR code and you'll get a document with the person it was a publication. They're like, and you'll get the document if you just scan it. So people are just walking by, scanning it and moving along. But I agree with you. I think you'll see more interactive stuff. I saw one person once, they had their poster and then they had like a stool and a laptop because their study, they were doing an experiment, and they were, having in-person participants, and they wanted to show what it actually was like. So they just had a video looping of, the different conditions and stuff that was in their study. So I definitely agree with you. We're going to start to see that a lot more and more.
That reminds me of handouts. So that was basically like a digital handout. You just scan it and then you've got the link and stuff like that. That'd be great. I'm sure lots of us could put a QR code in there, and I've seen people, leading with their phone around, getting the codes and stuff. By the way, on this page, which is again in this presentation stock, it's down there. This little link here, when you go to that page, it says APA mod template. You can download that. I just did it. And so it's going to download this template for you, the visual centric template. Andres, thank God you're here, because, Don and I are like,
Careful.
You know what I'm saying?
Careful,
By the
Shackleford.
power of us three, we'll get it all covered, you know?
Exactly.
Power of women.
We're seasoned, Don. Okay. So,
Careful.
but you can have handouts, like you can have a stack of handouts,
Mhm.
or because you know how it is, like you walk by something, you think, oh, that was cool. It's nice to have the person's card or something you can scan, or a handout that's sort of a summary. Let's see, here's some from Grad Psych. Make the most of your poster. They say use striking visuals, be real organized.
See, even this, Karen, even like, and I get it, even reading through this, I want you, my brain wants you to go back to the other one that had like a picture in the middle.
Exactly.
I saw this and I went, it's like too many words, too many notes.
I'll act it out for you, Don, though. Categorize onlookers. Oh, yeah, they want to know about this. Create a diversion, spill something.
Are
I
you
don't
talking
know.
about profiling your audience, Karen? I don't think that's kosher.
Here we go. There are 3 types of passersby. This person says passive, reflective, and active. I try to look like you can't get my attention because I don't, you know. I try to look like I have an important thing to go to. I'm kidding. But you know, some people really do, like they'll catch your eye. Or you, so the observers, like, and this is true, they'll walk up to you like this says and say, what did you find? Give me your sound bite. And so that's what they mean by rehearse too. You want to be ready to answer, you know, what would be a natural question. Tell me about your study. What did you find? Oh, you know, they'll say, oh, this is interesting. Or Andres and I have both been at media violence posters. Oh, the stories you will hear about their nephew and stuff if you are at a media violence poster. So I suppose it does probably really vary. A calm your nerve says know that you don't and won't have all the answers, and it's okay to say I'm not sure. You don't have to be like they've found out I'm a total, you know, poser. It's
Imposter syndrome.
Exactly.
Or imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. I love that. So this is a link down here to poster templates. This one is to some resources. Psychi, by the way, if you don't know, is the International Honor Society for Psychology. Another season comment done. When I was in it, it was the National Honor Society. Now it's gone international. You know, stuff happens. But
well, I'm somewhere between you because when I did it, it was international, Karen. So I don't know when you joined.
1990.
Back when the world was flat.
Is what, yeah, 1990. The world. Do you remember that? The world was flat. So it has tips like how do you write strong conference abstracts? That's so great. Get help footing the bill, more poster templates. This I would.
Karen, I'm sorry again. Karen, does Fielding help them? Because this is again not to diminish being a member of Psychi. Does Fielding help them with this membership, or do they have to do it on their own?
Oh well, what do you think, Don?
I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember getting a certificate in the mail suitable for framing.
So
which I did, by the way.
There are different scholarships that you can apply for. And there's actually, by the way, that's on here too. That's another reason I'd encourage you to use the website and or join. You can put it on your Vita, your CV, because they have all kinds of tips that you might use, and some of them are, like it says, how do you get help footing the bill? So there's a tab up there for awards and grants. So and those are hard to find, you know. So I don't recall in grad school that they gave us any money for traveling or anything. You can always apply, and as you've noticed, the divisions are how APA operates largely.
Humble brag.
He's got his sci-fi certificate. I don't have mine because it was made in 1990, but you know, it exists somewhere.
Because that was back when it was national, Karen. It was like,
it was just like, really, there were 2 people in psychology, me and some dude.
but no, but what I'm saying, I wasn't trying to flex, but it came from Fielding, and I thought that I just had to double check my source.
You know what? I don't.
So that's why I didn't. This was something from Fielding, and it was when I was doing my master's. It was for my doctorate. That's why I went to pull it. I went, wait, I think Fielding's on there. That's what I was wondering.
No, I'm glad you said that because so I was in psychiatry at the University of Missouri Columbia. I didn't know that Fielding, being a graduate school, had
that's why I was asking. As long before they graduate, take advantage of their tuition dollars in every way. I did not. I'm not that smart. I did not apply for it. someone at Fielding, and that's why I wanted to go check the certificate, because I remembered Fielding was on it, and that's why I was saying, does Fielding still help? So, students, before you get out of there, work those tuition dollars, because Fielding did that, Karen. I would like to say I did. I did not.
Okay,
Someone at
so
Fielding put me up for that.
I don't know. I bet that there is a chapter then of psychi at Fielding, but it's not within media psych, I don't think, because I would know about it, I would think. So it's probably in clinical or in the School of Psychology
know.
at large.
Just, I would encourage you, why not? Like I said, work those tuition dollars. It didn't cost me anything. Suddenly, I was just told about it and I got a certificate in the mail.
Yeah, and it's a lifetime
Suitable for
membership.
framing, which I did.
But really, like, you could get a grant award, you could be part of the psychi poster session. And I don't, in 1990, it was probably $2, but it was very inexpensive. It's not like it's a hefty price. But yeah, do think about, even if you can't travel, just because.
Well, one last thing, Karen, because I'm that guy, you shouldn't invite me. It's also, I'm reading on it, it's a lifetime
That's what I just
membership.
said, so you're not listening. I
was-
just said that, literally. Okay.
But there's no dues.
There's no dues. That is absolutely true. Yeah, so because they have psychi poster competitions, for instance, you can enter into those. And there are different conventions. So let me open it up for questions. I hope we've given you a broad overview of why you'd want to go.
I really
might go.
appreciate everyone's patience, by the way, as Karen and I did our show. Karen, I only have one question. Where's my car?
À Paris. I had a dream that Don and I were in a luxury retirement village together, and I was the executor.
It's
of
already
his
bad.
will,
The dream's already a nightmare.
and he died, and I had to execute his will, and all his
So it only gets better. Then I
your
die.
relatives were just gold diggers. They were just like, give me the jewels and
That
the
track,
gold.
that part of the dream track.
I actually had that dream. Okay, so what questions or observations, other than hope for Don and I's sanity, do you have for us today?
So when is the next the conference? This is Raphael.
This is it's in August. APA is always in August, and the applications are due January 10th.
Where?
Where are they due? That is,
The venue.
I shared it in the chat. There's a Google Doc called the presentation. If you look in the chat, and it has all the info. I'm sharing it on my screen as well. It has all the links for APA and info about
And
it.
again, all it is just filling out the application.
Yep.
It'll take, you guys are, I'm sure, are super smart. It'll take you, as long as you know your topic. And if you're working on a dissertation, I hope you do, you should know all the answers to the questions on the application and already have the cheat sheet for it. It should be pretty easy.
Okay.
No, it's in Washington, DC this year.
Yeah, I think it's in DC. Let me
Yeah. So last year was in
Sorry,
Minneapolis.
I looked up to the wrong thing. That was my
Yeah, no, it was in, they goes from, it's in Washington, DC every few years. That's the home base. But then it's in lovely Minneapolis, like this year, Denver, Chicago. Every once in a blue moon, they do
Toronto, San
Hawaii,
Francisco.
but they try not to do that because then no one goes to any of the presentations, as you can imagine. They're all on the beach. It's in San Diego. It goes around the country, but this year in August, it's in DC.
Okay. My other question is probably sort of a general question. To do a research, do you have to be attached to a school?
So, no, like you can have I don't know what the word is, an affiliation, that's what it is in APA, that is independent researcher, but the most common affiliation is a university affiliation, or, and then there's research institutes. Fielding has something called, what is it? Oh gosh, it's ISI Scholars, Institute for Social Innovation. If you're interested in having an ongoing affiliation with Fielding, you can write Dr. Katie McGraw and ask her about those. I think it's called ISI Fellows. But people ask me that a lot because then they graduate, and if they don't work at a university, they feel like they don't have an affiliation.
I'm in that right now, Karen.
Yeah. Well, and you have your organization that you could put that, or people put
I do.
private practice. but it
Yeah,
is,
but I don't have a school anymore, and that's something where, that's a great question, because I wondered about that too. And I also wondered, will that compromise my chances?
well, most reviews are blind peer reviews, so they won't know your affiliation. But it is an issue, like, if you're not, if you don't have an affiliation, it make you feel like maybe awkward about that.
Mhm.
But everyone on this call or this Zoom has one right now.
That's true.
Work those tuition dollars.
But I would encourage you, if you want to continue to publish research, you can apply for that fellow status. Or you could be a fellow in other things. But yeah, or if you're teaching somewhere, that's an affiliation, like a one class, if you're an adjunct somewhere, that's an affiliation.
I know, Karen, this is, again, I'm all over this. One of the things, by the way, if you are going to try to submit to present in, and I know we have about 3 weeks, but you guys are used to deadlines, you're in school. You have to join APA as a student. It's cheaper. So before you can go in the portal, before you submit, you need to go in and actually become a student member, I walk you through it, of APA. And if you want to do it with Division 46, you have to, and this is why you should just email the steps. You need to be a member of our division in order for us to promote you through press, radio, television, and film, but also to present through us. So I know it's a little tricky. So before you can be qualified, you can't just, if you're on a panel, like if you pulled together with Karen and Andres and said, I want to present on a panel, you do not need to be a member. If you want to co-present, I presented, and my co-presenter is not a member of APA. The person who submits has to be. So if you're going to self-submit a poster, I forgot to say this, you need to go and join APA as a student affiliate, and then also join Division 46 or email the steps and ask how they do it as a member, because otherwise you don't qualify to present there. Sorry, I forgot to say that. That could be awkward later.
So thank you. Brian wrote me a direct message. He says that we don't have, he looked on the Psychi page and Fielding doesn't have a current chapter, and that you need a chapter to apply. I would be happy to be the faculty mentor or whatever of a Psychi if we wanted to get together a group. I wonder if you can use Psychi as your affiliation. I don't know.
I don't know, but I just heard you on a recorded Zoom offering to take this on, Karen, so you cannot redact this.
I am a
Everyone,
fan of Psychi. I would be thrilled to
take
be
that
the
on.
Psychi person. There's merch, you can get a t-shirt. I'm in.
A certificate suitable for framing.
Exactly. There's jewelry, there's bling. I don't know.
Jewelry. That's what I get you next Christmas, Karen. Just now you've given me a great idea. Get you some Psychi jewelry.
This is what Don got me for my birthday this year. I want to say this is a dozen
That was
roses.
just one of them. I'm not that cheap.
I don't know if you can see, this is Rose from the Golden Girls. It's awesome.
It's a dozen roses. Karen got me a screaming pickle.
It was a screaming goat. It's an internet meme.
Oh,
Okay.
it was a yodeling pickle.
That's true. I did do that too. See, I promised Don, this is my last story, that if I go to thrift stores and I see the most bizarre item there, I'm just going to buy it and mail it to him. That's my.
It almost made me
that's
block Karen from my life when she told me that she was going to do that.
There's some weird stuff at thrift stores.
Any questions? I really encourage you, especially, I know you all are tired. This is hard. I didn't read about this in books, but I had to read a lot of books to do what you guys are doing. But while you're in it, I really encourage you to take advantage of every opportunity, because you're all cute and adorable and everyone's really into you when you're a student. Then when you graduate and you're just another schlepper trying to get opportunities, you're looked at differently, except you will be a PhD, which means you'll get these opportunities. And then when you get the opportunities, they're going to say, oh, wait, are you published? So take advantage of, I encourage you strongly, even though you're tired, because you don't get to do this again. Work that student thing and go for the scholarships, and have Karen sign up for the Psychi thing.
If you want to be a student Psychi, graduate student Psychi chapter person, contact me and we'll figure out how to do that. I'll sign you up too, Don, because you won't be there.
I'm already a lifetime member, Karen. Did you not see my visual?
Oh. All right, everyone. Thank you for dealing with us. And if you have
It was really
other,
nice. I'm sure I'll never be invited back again, but that's okay because Karen knows. It's not like she didn't know what was going to happen.
can
So
you imagine people that
that's on
I
you.
had
That's
to
on
do
you,
his
K-Shack.
dissertation with him? Can you even imagine?
Hey, Karen, you're on my posters somewhere. Right there. There it is. K-Shack, right at the
Would
top.
you like to be in charge of Don? Would you like to rein him in?
No one wants that job.
Okay, so thank you, Andreas.
Happy holidays. Stay safe, everyone. I
And
hope I see you at APA. I really, really
yep,
hope so.
yep, there'll be socials. You meet people. Okay, thanks, everybody. Let me know if you have questions. Bye.